the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence in the dim and flaring lamps. His day is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea. With a glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free. While God is marching on. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is
Art, let's give it 2 minutes.
Well,
Yeah, it is. It's appropriated in a pod, and I don't talk too long, and we can move right along to the annual race.
When you get to half hour, I'll give you a signal. When you're speaking a half hour.
Okay. 2-minute warning and we will begin. Let's settle down and take your seats, please.
I recognize her. Well, Gordon's seen you. I don't know how many. Since I wrote one book, Martin Kenyon.
Somebody comes in and gets say hello to
You want another chip? What I did, I went. Well, halfway. Just stays on.
Okay, good.
So if we can get them up front.
I love hearing those stories.
Oh, so you tell them where it's at.
Socialize later.
I will take a seat. That's ready.
About 30
Stop
seconds.
in about 30 seconds, all right? I will sit down.
Right up front.
Right up front.
Chairs open if you'd like that seat. The program will. Great program. It's going to take a few minutes. So grab a chair. That'd be fine. Commander's orders that the rain stops.
Chaplain. Don't be shy. Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear? I'll speak a little louder. Good to go? Thank you all for coming. This is a marvelous event and a marvelous time of the year for a marvelous rock that has been painted. The flagpole, the message board, everything has just been top-notch, professional, and I think everybody that's participated, come, being a veteran, a family of a veteran, taking care of veterans. It's all about veterans. I'm Mark Golightly. I'm the commander of the Member and the Legion Post here. The Legion Post is just down the road here on Baker Street. We're very active. We do a lot of military funerals. We do food fundraisers, projects like this, except that this is really a county project. It's not a member, but we started it. Today is the day to formally present our Freedom Rock to everybody who's been in the works for about 2.5 years now. And we're really excited to have this day finally come. We want to thank all of our veterans, all the guests, the Congress people, the representatives, city councils, mayors, whoever. I want to thank you all for coming this morning. We also have a beautiful singing group, the Young Patriots Club. And they're from Des Moines. They're a local Christian music group that loves freedom. They sing from their heart, and they're consisting anywhere from kindergartners to 12th graders. And their mission is to honor God, as well as we as veterans do, and to lift up American heroes. The Young Patriots is directed by Julie Kirkett. Please stand for the singing of the the national anthem.
Please sing along with us.
I also want to remind everybody that the National Defense Authorization Act of 2008 contained an amendment to allow ununiformed service members, military retirees, and all veterans to render a hand salute during the hoisting, lowering, or passing of the flag, with a later amendment authorizing hand salutes during the national anthem. Please remain standing as we have our national anthem played. Invocation with Bob Chaplain giving a chaplain's prayer. Please rise and take your caps off. Okay.
Please bow our heads. Hats removed. Our most gracious and heavenly Father, whose greatness has been witnessed throughout the history of humanity, we stand in awe of your power and might. We thank you for gathering us now in this place, such a beautiful place in Dallas County, Iowa, that has been set aside to honor the men and women of our armed services, men and women who, in giving of themselves, have endured separation from family and friends, have given their time and skills, have placed freedom for others over their own safety. In the performance of their duty, some have paid the price of loss of bodily members, some have given their all, even their very lives, to the call to service for this great nation. To all of these brave individuals we owe much gratitude. Yet too often we have failed to recognize or appreciate their bravery, their unselfish dedication to duty, and criticized the cause for which they have been called to duty. Today, in their honor, we now dedicate this beautiful monument, crafted by human hands with love, as tributes to all who have answered the call to duty as members of our military forces for today and of days gone by. No longer may we take for granted the unmentionable actions that may have been necessary in the pursuit of freedom. No longer may we fail to give thanks to those whose actions are too often left unappreciated. May this place, this monument, be a reminder of the sacrifices that have been made and will be made in our feeble attempts to make this world a better place. May we all be enriched by your blessings. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. Today I want to greet everyone once again. We have quite a few different dignitaries and congressmen, representatives, and I'll read out their names. We have Dennis Dorman, U.S. Army veteran of Korea War, awarded 6 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart. One of the few survivors of the battle of the Chusan Reservoir. We have Stan Murrell, Vice Commander of the American Legion, Department of Iowa. We have Patrick Phillips, Commander of the 6th District of the American Legion of Iowa. We have Dave Allen, Veterans Fellow for representing Charles Grassley. We have John Hollerika, Regional Director for Senator Joni Ernst. His next name is going to be a loopy. Mr. John Urkaminachakar, Constitute Service and Field Representative for Congresswoman Cindy Axie, 3rd Congressional District of Iowa. We have, I haven't seen the Senator Jake Chapman. I think he's here.
Right here.
There he is. And we have Representative Chris Hallown of Iowa District 43.
Get out of the rain. Come on.
Okay, and then we have Mr. Stephen Lucan, Executive Director, Iowa Department of Veterans Affairs. We have Mr. Mark Hansen from the Dallas County Supervisors. We have our Sheriff, Chad Leonard from the Dallas County Sheriff's Department. And we have our own local elected officials from Minburn, Travis Connick, the Mayor, Ronnie Allen, City Council, Megan Bennett, City Council, Phyllis Moss, City Council, Joe Sitterberg, City Council, Charlotte White, City Council. It's a time for veterans to stand and be recognized. Let's see how well the 5 services are represented. The Young Patriots Club will again sing the service melody. Come on down. For veterans, when you hear your service song played, please stand up and be appreciated. The service melody will start with the oldest service first, the U.S. Army. U.S. Army, please stand.
Over there, as we hit the dusty trail, and the great songs go rolling.
U.S. Marine Corps.
Sing along if you'd like. From the halls of Montezuma. We fight our country battles in
U.S. Navy. Coast Guard.
Is our guide, our brave memory to fight or train and fight and die. I know smart we are for you.
Air Force.
Our thunder, our joy, dear God. Your eyes must play from under our wonder before. We lay, we're down this way. Stand up, we'll stop the U.S. Air Force.
Thank you, Patriot Group. Outstanding. Thank you all for your veterans, your service, your duty, your honor, and sacrifices to God and country that are a testament to all that we live for in the greatest country on earth. Freedom isn't free, nor can the total cost be ever measured. We are thankful that you stood up and took the oath to defend it. Give you a little bit of background of why we have this dedication today. This dream started on a quiet night in the Legion Hall about 2.5 years ago. And it would not have happened without the help and contributions of some very key people. I want to thank Dennis Allen from Jamaica for donating the rock, Kirk Van Kirk and Derek Van Kirk of Progressive Foundry of Perry, who donated the resources to move this, I think it's 18,000 pound rock from Perry and lift it in place right where it stands. Harry Stein also, and Lee and Donetta Snyder for helping all the donations to erect the magnificent flagpole right behind me. And thank you for Minburn Communications for all the electrical service, the connections for the lights, and to the rock and to the flagpole. And there are many other people that contributed through fundraisers or donations through this time period. And their organizations are, and not all of them, but most of them, Redfield American Legion Post 261, Van Meter American Legion Post 403, Dexter American Legion Post 419, Adel American Legion Post 464, Dallas Center Legion Auxiliary, the Washington Township School Foundation, and we also want to thank Hy-Vee and Fairway for the snacks in the back. They're from Perry, and for also Tyson Foods, and also for all the beverages that have been donated through all the fundraising throughout these several years. And last but not least, I want to thank every individual who donated individual contributions, however minute the amount is. Didn't matter if it's $5 or $1 or $100. We want to personally thank you for all this benefit of this major project. We couldn't have done it without each and every single one of you. I'll give you a little bit background of the Minburn Legion Post. It's a fascinating history. The Osborne Post 99 of the American Legion held its first meeting in Thompson's Butcher Shop in the fall of 1919. Harry Smith, a former Memburn resident who's now living in Rippey, was instrumental in founding the unit after having served with the 33rd Infantry Division during World War I. He was designated to represent his unit while serving in Germany at the close of the war at the formation of the American Legion in Paris, which was in March of 1919. Upon his return to the States, he attended a meeting of all veterans of Iowa at the Fort Des Moines Hotel in Des Moines for the purpose of creating the American Legion. The principal speaker for this historic event was Theodore Roosevelt Jr. As soon after that was possible, Smith called a similar meeting in Memburn. He was appointed the post commander, and John Webster served as the post adjutant. The post was eventually assigned the number 99 in the honor of being one of the very first posts in Iowa. The post was named the Osborne Post in honor of Lester Osborne, a native of Memburn, who was the first Dallas County lad killed in action in World War I. Army Private Osborne served with the Company A, the 7th Infantry Division of the 7th Infantry Regiment of the 3rd Division, and was killed in action on July 15, 1918 in France. He is interred locally here at the Elmwood Cemetery, just west of Memburn. Currently, our post has 56 members. As I mentioned, we support a vast range of veterans and civic organizations and projects, as well as the Freedom Rock. We're extremely proud of having 3 World War II veterans still living: William Berger of Prairie, Roland Mann of Central Cedar Rapids, and Ernest Faber of Memburn, who is with us today, sitting on the end row there. We've also suffered 3 recent losses in our local post. Dwayne Collins, who we just buried this week, Jerry Moss of Memburn, which was about a month ago, and Des Moines Police Captain and also Army Reserve Sergeant Major, who is retired, Paul Stout of Waukee. Join me for a minute, a pause of silence to remember them and all the veterans that have given their ultimate sacrifice. We'll pause for about 30 seconds. Thank you. Not only these local heroes that have been locally deceased, when we have county meetings, we send out the names of those that are deceased, ill, sicknesses at our county meetings. So it's part of the business. So we'll remember the family and the deceased that some have given the ultimate sacrifice. I'd like to now change my subject and let somebody else do some talking now. I want to introduce our guest speakers right behind me. Simon Conway is the host of an afternoon talk show on WHO Radio and a proud United States citizen. He is on the board of directors for both the battleship USS Iowa and the Puppy Jake Foundation. And in fact, I think just yesterday he had a marathon fundraiser for all over the state of Iowa for the Puppy Jake Foundation. He's a high energy person and has a lot of contagiousness. And we're very excited to have Simon with us today. Please welcome Simon Conway.
I'm not sure if this is on. Is it on? Yeah, it is. Good. By the way, I was very disappointed that you didn't recognize Space Force. But we need a tune, right? So we need a tune to Space Force, apparently. I've joined. Who else? Who's with me? I don't know, all the vets want to go to Space Force, you see? Because weight doesn't matter, right? He was absolutely right. We did hold a marathon fundraiser yesterday for the Puppy Jake Foundation on the 2 radio stations, WMT in Cedar Rapids in the morning at 5 a.m. and then in Des Moines in the afternoon on WHO. And as of right now, this total will go up because we haven't counted the website donations and we haven't received anything in the mail yet, which we always do. But as of right now, $39,211. And that round of applause should go to my audience, which is the very best audience in talk radio anywhere in the country. What that number means is 2 service dogs. It means 2 veterans will have their lives changed. And that's why I'm here today. On the rock here, it actually says PTSD, the Forgotten Ones. And our job at Puppy Jake is to make sure that they're not forgotten. That we help. That things change in their lives, because not everybody we send away on deployment comes back exactly the same. It's such an honor for me to call the guy in the front row my friend. But he is my friend. Denny Dorman was one of the chosen few. We sent an awful lot of people into the Chosin Reservoir. It was terrible. It was one of the worst battles in the history of the United States. 300 and something came out. He was one of them. He has a Purple Heart. He has 6 Bronze Stars. That's Denny Dorman, ladies and gentlemen. He also has the best looking and smartest dog the Puppy Jake Foundation have ever given away. That's Puppy Simon, right over there. Right over there. And yeah, he's standing up to take a bow, as he should. If you speak to Denny afterwards privately, he will tell you how this dog has completely changed his life. I met Denny in his home, because one of the things we do at Puppy Jake is we go and do home visits before we will give a dog to somebody. And the first time I ever met Denny was in his home. And he was a hermit, basically. He never went out. He had some 50 years of weekly nightmares. Just think about that for a moment. 50 years. And all that's changed. Denny is now, if there's a microphone somewhere, Denny is very close to it. Loves the media, right? Cameras as well. Cameras even more than microphones, by the way. But he is a great guy. He's a wonderful ambassador for Puppy Jake Foundation. But most importantly of all, he can be in places like this with hundreds of people. And that dog right there has changed his life, and that's what we do. Just 2 weeks ago, literally 2 weeks ago today, the last 4 graduates of Puppy Jake took their dogs home forever. Forever. And that's not the end of Puppy Jake's involvement with these veterans, by the way. Between those 4 guys, they had 3 Purple Hearts and 1 Bronze Star between them as well. We help true American heroes, we really do. And the way it works is the last 2 weeks we've taken 2 to 2.5 years to train these dogs. But of course, when the veteran gets the dog, the veteran doesn't know what the dog can do. So we take 2 weeks to train the veteran on what the dog can do. Right? So the first 2 days of that, the Monday and Tuesday, we bring him in, we put him in a hotel, the veterans pay not a dime for this stuff. We put him in a hotel, we politely call it boot camp. The first 2 days there's no dog. We train them on how to use some of the commands without a dog. On the Wednesday they get the dog that they're going to take home forever. And on the Wednesday night they take that dog back to the hotel. They come in on the Thursday morning and we ask, what went well, what didn't go well. And this one particular veteran said, I slept. He said, well, that's what you're supposed to do at night when you go to bed. He says, no, you don't understand. I haven't slept through the night in 13 years. I get goosebumps. A dog did that. A dog that he hadn't even bonded with yet. And when we dug deeper, it was essentially because he felt that someone had his back for the first time since he came home. And if you ask any veteran in here, the biggest thing that when they came home and they were out of the service, the biggest change was no longer did they feel someone had their back. And that is true of people that came home pretty much the same, and people that came home changed. That's the number one thing we hear from our veterans. The dogs also train themselves because they're not magic pills. They're part of the solution. It works better for some than others. We have one veteran who has one of our dogs who had a panic attack. It was severe enough that the family decided they needed to take him to the ER. So they took him to the ER, they get out of the car, the dog starts walking backwards into the ER, maintaining eye contact with the veteran. It's like he knew. He had to get him past the front door of that hospital, and then he did his job. We never trained him to do that. I see your face, man. Oh wow is right. So these dogs change lives, and that's what we do. They change lives, and what we did over the last couple of days is we raised enough to help 2 more veterans. So that's what Puppy Jake does. We honour our veteran community, and that's what we're doing here today as well. A permanent reminder here in Dallas County of the sacrifice of our veteran community. And PTSD, my final word on that. It is invisible in a lot of ways. It is real, however. Very real. And often, way too often, it leads to suicide. We have a military suicide crisis in our country that needs addressing in a serious fashion. A lot of us now know about it, and that's a good thing, because that helps raise the profile. But we need more things done about it. And talk to your Congress people. You've got representatives of Senators. We should actually make yourself known, please. We've got a representative from Chuck Grassley's office, from right over there. Cindy Axney's office, at the back there. We have former Congressman David Young kicking around here somewhere. I've seen him. You could do this at a state level. State Senator Jake Chapman over there with 5 children. So he's not busy at all. But find your Congress people, find your state representatives, talk to them about this really, really important issue. When it comes to Puppy Jake Foundation, not one veteran who has received a dog from us has killed themselves. Not one. One did think about it very seriously, and if you talk to him, he will tell you that the dog stopped him doing it because the dog was fussing at him. Wouldn't leave him alone. He shouted at the dog, something our dogs have no knowledge of. We never raise our voices. There's no negativity in the training of our dogs. He even shouted at this dog, and the dog would not leave him alone. And because he engaged the dog, even with his voice raised, he was able to get past that moment of crisis, and he is still with us today. If you know anybody who has served, we're proud of that. I'm proud of that. The dog did that. If you know anybody who has served, please talk to them. And finally, the final words I have, actually, let me just mention Bubba. Bubba Sorensen did this. He should be here today. Unfortunately, his grandfather passed away, and he's attending that funeral this morning. He was supposed to be here. But if you've been around the rock, Bubba does amazing work And we should give Bubba a round of applause for what he did with the Freedom Rock here. It's actually my family tradition on Memorial Day weekend. Whatever else we do, we go to the original Freedom Rock and see what Bubba has done. And if you've not been out to that one, you should go to that one as well. And when you get, the only thing that doesn't change on that every year is the helicopter. That's just updated. And it's updated in a very special way. When you get to the helicopter at the Freedom Rock, the original Freedom Rock, remove your hats if you wear them, because it contains the ashes of more than 100 veterans. He's found a way to mix the paint with their ashes. And people send him ashes from all over the country, and he adds them each year to that helicopter. So if you go up there, please do that. So Bubba wanted to be here, I know, and he's done a really remarkable job. Has everybody been all the way around that? Yeah, everyone walk around it. Good. If you haven't, make sure you do. All right, I think I've spoken for long enough. Everyone's starting to look cold now. So I'm going to sit down. Thank you all for coming, and please do continue to honour our veterans.
Our next guest speaker is Nick Plaska, Executive Director of Dallas County Veterans Affairs. He is also a veteran and has done so much to help veterans all over this county to obtain all the benefits that they have earned and deserve. He is constantly finding new ways to keep veterans of Dallas County informed on all the different issues that pertain to us. With his expertise and knowledge, he receives many requests to help veterans from all over Iowa. Please join me with a warm welcome for Nick Plaska.
I'll keep it short and sweet because it looks like everybody's cold and wet. So when I was trying to think of what to write or what to say, I started thinking about the rock, and what I realized is the paint really represents a lot of stuff. The first is the veterans who went overseas and never came home. Secondly, there's over 7,000 veterans buried in Dallas County. That represents everybody who was in the reserves, National Guard, served overseas, served at home, but somehow played a part in protecting this country. Currently, we have over 4,000 veterans that live in Dallas County. And then, plus you include the active members, the reservists, and the National Guard. We must remember they're always willing to travel across the world and ensure the safety of those back home. Beneath the rock, or beneath the paint, is a rock. The rock symbolizes the parents who supported their children as they joined the military. The spouses and family members who took on extra duties as they were gone for their training, their service overseas. But most importantly, the extended family, community, and everybody else that steps up to support the veterans, as you all see as you're all here today. So I want to thank everybody for stepping up to support the Freedom Rock and what you do to support veterans. Thank you.
As Nick gave us a little information, Bubba Sorensen II, grandfather, passed away, and his funeral is today. He wanted to be here, as he always is, to dedicate the rock. Unfortunately, his grandfather's funeral was this morning. The goal of the rocks and the theme of all the county rocks is to provide an entire tour of Pacific stories on the rocks. It's not who won the Medal of Honor or who was in a certain battle. It's themes of each county. Think of each rock as a puzzle, and you go from county to county looking at the history from the rock, and then he kind of encompasses until you get a theme of what he's trying to think and project onto the rock. Our next guest speaker is Joy Neal-Kinney. She is the niece of the Wilson brothers, and she's also an author and an energetic historian. She has a new book, Lorna's Letters, and is written about the Wilson family during their service of World War II with 5 sons that went off to war. Lorna's Letters will be published and available through Amazon next month. Joy's Veterans Day essay will appear in the Des Moines Register also next month. Also spotlighting Iowa's Freedom Rocks, and this is 82 of the Freedom Rocks, especially our rock as being dedicated today. Let us give a warm welcome for Judy.
Thank you. Yes, I'm the niece. The 2 Native brothers, my mother was the next one. And there was another sister, Darlene, and she's the twin to the one in the middle. We lost her in May, just short of her 98th birthday. A lot of their history I grew up with, didn't know. It was the elephant in the room, so to say. 5 brothers from rural Memphis went off to World War II, and only 2 of them came home. I set out to make sure that these brothers were never forgotten. Probably 25 years ago, I even prayed about this, and I prayed that people would want to see where the stories took place. 25 years ago, Bubba Sorensen was probably in junior high. There were no Freedom Rocks. He has turned into a treasure for the entire state of Iowa. We will be the only state that will have 99 Freedom Rocks. He was still a teenager when he did that one between Menlo and Greenfield. Since then, he's gotten married. He has a darling family. If you want to see the children, Julie, who brought her kids to sing, has a patriotic poem book that Ray Sorensen has illustrated. And you'll recognize Ray's kids in there. Julie brought them, you can buy them afterwards too. So Ray's work has matured, and if you look at his very fine website, you'll have to find The Freedom Rock, that's his. You'll find pictures of all the Freedom Rocks he's done to date, and on there he states his goals. His first goal is to make sure that the veterans are appreciated. His second goal is to provide some tourism. And his third goal, of course, is to take care of his family. He also wrote, this was specifically about this rock. And if you'll remember, he was doing it, was it July?
Yes.
It was sweltering under that tent. And Larry kept taking pictures and putting them on Facebook so we could see how it was going. I didn't see any sweat. Did he have a fan?
Yeah, I brought him a fan.
He said it was a nice treat to be close to home painting the Dallas County Freedom Rock in Memphis, Iowa. For once, I didn't need to pack, and I could drive back and forth. I was also able to let both my kids help in creating this rocks. So thanks to Mikey, he's named for the grandfather that they are burying today, for helping me prime it, and to Indy, that's short for his daughter's name of Independence, for helping me fill in the big chunks of color. He wanted to promote tourism, so on the back of this rock, frankly, the committee was kind of hoping that we would have veterans back there. Well, okay, they're veterans, but they are very famous ones. In fact, legendary athletes, but I do think it will bring people to this rock to see them. You can find out lots of information about them online. We've got some on the storyboard over here. Niall Kinnick grew up at Adel. He was a football player at the U of I, Heisman Trophy winner, All-American. He was a World War II pilot and he was lost in an accident in the Caribbean in 1943. By the way, the oldest three Wilson brothers, they grew up at Dexter. Guess who they played? Van Meter and Adele. They played both of these athletes. By the way, Dexter always lost. He was never found. In 1951, he was named to the College Football Hall of Fame, and of course, Kinnick Stadium is named after him. What I didn't know until I met Jim Peters of Adele. Jim, where are you? There he is, back here. He's in charge of the ADM Alumni Wall of Fame there, and he just happened to tell me, did I know that Niall Kinnick had a younger brother who was also killed in the war. Yes, Benjamin Kinnick was killed the next year in New Guinea in a B-25. Kinnick's had 3 sons. Only one came home. Bob Feller grew up at Van Meter. He was in the baseball major leagues when he was 17. He had to return home to graduate from high school. He pitched 18 seasons with the Cleveland Indians, and he took 4 years out to serve in the Navy during World War II. He was the first pitcher to win 24 games in one season before the age of 21. So be sure you appreciate those 2 veterans, and people will come to the Rock just to see what's there. The men whose names we thought, what do we do with these? We have heroes in this county that I didn't know about who need to be remembered. So a lot of them are on the storyboard, some of them there are pictures there. Across the bottom, there's just the name, what war they were in, and the medals they won. The first name there is Denny Dorman. And I finally got to meet you today. Any of you who are on Facebook, don't make fun of it. Well, some of it, you can make fun of it. We have a Dallas County History Facebook page. That's where the pictures are going of those veterans. Each one of them has a story there, a picture. I've got links to the ADM site. The ADM alumni wall, it's pictorial. There's pictures of the men, there's pictures of their medals, there's copies of their letters. Jim and the group out there have just done a wonderful job. So please join us there, and if you have trouble finding that, get a hold of me and I'll make sure you get a link to it. Is Rod Stanley here today? He's a local historian. Next month, on November 3rd, in the afternoon, he's giving a program about Dallas County war heroes at the Waukee Library at 1:30, and he's chosen several of these men. Okay, the Wilson brothers. They grew up in Dexter. In 1939, they came to Denver as tenant farmers. One by one, they left for the war. And of course, Clay couldn't take care of the farm anymore, so they bought a small acreage south of Perry. Growing up, I knew that they had lost 3 brothers. And I knew that Uncle Don had been in the Pacific for an hour after his shipwreck was sunk. But my sister over here and I, you don't ask questions if you know it's going to bring tears. Every Memorial Day, in those days we called it Decoration Day, we would come to Perry to decorate those 3 graves and our grandfathers. We went with Grandma Wilson, her name's Leora, by the way, Leora. Grandma Leora, Aunt Darlene, and Mom was not a sad day for us. We took the peonies and the iris to the cemetery first. I saw Grandma cry there once. It was just quiet, solemn. Once in a while, people would come and talk to us. The rest of the day, we farm kids got to go to a real cafe and have a hamburger and a Coke. And we got to shop with Mom and Aunt Darlene and our grandmother. It was a wonderful day. Never thought of it about it being sad at all. Grandma died in 1987. Afterwards, mom and her sister were in deep grieving probably for a month. It wasn't just for Grandma. They were reliving World War II. Gloria and I even talked about, is this healthy? Should we get some help? But they were also reading through the old letters. And now I understand it. I can get teary-eyed by seeing the brothers writing. They let me have the letters next. And I started transcribing them because the two brothers on the West Coast also didn't have access to any of these. I finally found out only one's buried at Perry. And I said, well, how did that happen? And why doesn't anybody know about this? At the end of the war, this was the day the second atomic bomb was dropped. Two of these brothers were still missing in action. They still had hope that they might come home. The telegram that arrived that day told about the death of the youngest one. He was a P-40 pilot. The engines threw a rod and exploded. They didn't know for 4 more months what had happened to the one in Europe. And the one who was lost in New Guinea has never been found. At the end of the war, Americans were tired of war. And what do you say to someone that you know has lost several sons? It was easier just not to talk about it. By the way, Uncle Don, he's the one with the hat. He's not the oldest, but he's the one with all the medals. The ship he was on was the Yorktown, sunk at Midway. He not only was in the ocean once, he volunteered to be part of the salvage crew. That ship did not sink right away. The next day it was still afloat. It was under 200 people went back over to the ship to try to salvage it, and he was one of them. He actually was on topside for a sandwich. He saw the torpedoes that doomed his ship. I had letters later. Still have them. Who knew this crusty old uncle was a hero of this? He got a citation signed by Admiral Nimitz and Naval Commendation Medal for that. But I didn't know that until Gloria and I were in our 40s when we found this out. So I did research. I joined reunion groups so I could write people who were in New Guinea when Dale was. I found people who knew them. I found the one who brought the youngest brother's body home from Texas, and I'm still corresponding with his daughters. I learned to write so I could tell their story. Yes, I prayed those prayers 25 years ago. I journaled the prayers. Is this awesome rock an answer to my prayers that they would never be forgotten? If it is, do not get my socks off. This was worth waiting for. Are those 5 brothers in heaven looking down on us today, finding themselves on the rock here with their 5 hunting and hiking brothers, best pals, 5 brothers. They are born on the wings of an American bald eagle, and they're sheltered by an American flag. I think they'd be amazed. I know that the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of the extended Wilson family, we're humbled and grateful for this, and very thankful that you've come today to share this with us. Thank you.
Okay, now we will actually do the dedication for the rock and the flagpole and the storyboard. Please rise as we dedicate this marvelous rock and the work of art. In the name of Osborne Post 99, Department of Iowa of the American Legion, I dedicate this memorial. I dedicate this as the Dallas County Freedom Rock, which is an embodiment of the ideas of justice, freedom, and democracy of which the American Legion exists. As in time of war, when we fight for our country, and in time of peace, as we serve the Republic fearlessly and well. May we bear in mind that the comrades have gone before us, that their memory may dwell around this memorial and also be a constant blessing among us. It is our hope and desire that this will ever be a benefit of our local community, of our state, and of our nation. I dedicate this rock for the purposes of our local post and of Dallas County, for the faithful service of all veterans of our beautiful nation, of its people, and for the heroic dead that have given the ultimate sacrifice. Join me once again as we have the wonderful Young Patriots Club come up with Julie Record for special presentation and another musical selection. Oh, everybody can sit down.
Too young to join the army, too young to go to war, but not too young to understand we're what you fought for. For us who left our families to see that we be free, for us who obey orders to preserve our liberty. No, please no, we're grateful. To you we are in debt. We want nothing but to honor you, so glad our paths have met. For you we sing our hearts out and thank our God above. We may not even know your name, still we give you all our love.
Thank you very much, Young Patriot Club. Wonderful, outstanding performance. We'll now have our benediction. Our chaplain, Bob, will come forward, give us a benediction prayer. pray.
Remove our hats, please. This is Okay, remove our hats, please. Lord, as we now about to depart this hallowed ground, be mindful of attendees' safety in returning home. You, the ruler of all high places, the God of many names, touch each of us with a wind that keeps us strong for all days to come. Amen.
This concludes our This concludes our dedication ceremony. But before we're done, I want to thank a lot of different people. I want to thank all our guest speakers who have come to share their words of inspiration with us today. We're going to talk to Simon afterwards because we got a wonderful special presentation for him. You just conked out. You all right? Yeah. No? Yes?
Go.
Yes? The wire. We'll use the microphone, I guess. Now, you hear me? Ooh. Got a little backbeat here. Technical difficulties, as usual. Okay. Like I said, I want to thank our guest speakers for this inspiration that they shared with us. I also want to thank Chaplain Bob from Waukee, because this is a county project, for your prayers today. I want you to also, when you have time and the weather is very good, to travel around and look at the Freedom Rocks in Iowa. He also has it on the social media, on websites, all that kind of thing. Like I said, this is number 82 of the tour from 99. And he also has completed 3 more rocks this summer, so he's nearing his goal of 99. I also want to thank all our Legion members that are represented here, all the veterans, VFW, other veterans organizations that have come out today. Thank you all for your donations. We couldn't have done it with every single penny. Also, I want to thank our director, Julie Dunker, and the Young Patriots Club. Very outstanding musical talents today. It just gives us more inspiration to the young children are very patriotic. And we also want to thank Julie is going to be here afterwards, and she's going to be having a new book called Because Your Old Glory Flies. And that's also illustrated by Bubba. And that'll be over by one of the tables if it stops raining. There's one other individual I need to talk to, and that's Carrie Fuller. I don't know where she is. She's a little shy. Come on down, Carrie. This woman is a godsend. She is a fine Christian woman. She has an outstanding business. She did almost all the publicity, all the flyers, the brochures, the storyboard, all the transportation, all this. She's a marvelous musician with graphic design and does only professional work. We could not have done this without Carrie. Just simply could not. We would have to job it out, and it would have been very costly. She's just an exceptionally wonderful person. I also want to thank you. She's from the shy. I also want to thank Larry and Denise Corneliuson, standing right over here. They rammed this project through for this last 2 years or so when it kind of floundered, and they did a lot of the legwork, a lot of the communication. They're part of the Dallas County Freedom Rock Committee that kept moving this project forward. This project is not finished at all. I'd also like to thank my Vice Commander or Communications Officer, Don Richardson. He's hiding here somewhere. He's a good PR guy, and he wrote out most of what I'm talking about today. I want to thank all the local veterans that have come today, all the city council people, all the people that helped in the parking, transportation, moving everything in and out, providing food, also the women's auxiliary. And then when this ceremony is finished, and I saw Gavin here, we're going to have Simon Conway and the Puppy Jake Foundation. We're going to give them a local check from the member and auxiliary and for the American Legion. And then also, yeah, go back, please. The reception will also be held in the back there. There's some snacky things, cookies and drinks and whatever. And then we'll be around if you want to take some photos with our Congress people or with The Rock or whoever you'd like to have your family members. Also, the 3 eating establishments are open this morning, and that's the depot right behind me. Have marvelous food and drinks. Mutters is right behind you to the back. They have lots of variety of foods and drinks. And then the lunch box is just down the road. You probably know where it is, and they have kind of a barbecue type of a meal. So thank you for all coming today, and God bless America. If Simon can come up, and then we do the check presentation.
Where the grapes of wrath are stored, he hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, hallelujah. in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died,